Hello everyone, welcome to my video. My name is Patricia. If you don't already know me, I came to London 2 years ago to do my master degree in fashion design, and I'm telling you a little bit more about my story, how to get to fashion design. I'm gonna talk about studying fashion design as well, and moving to London, finding a job and renting a room in London. Today I'm actually going to talk more about first weeks in London, after you find a room, after you find a job, what kind of legal formal things you need to do, about finding a GP, about creating a bank account, and how to deal with all of those papers. So if you're interested in this topic, please stay with me. I hope you will enjoy, and yeah, let's continue. Right, so in my previous video I actually ended up on finding a job, finding a room, and starting my life basically here. I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about what things you actually need to have when you come to UK. So you're gonna have to apply for national insurance number for you to be able to legally work. This is something you absolutely need to have, because then you're gonna pay taxes, you're gonna pay for your health insurance, probably also a pension scheme as well. So for you to legally work, you need to have a national insurance number. And now, because before I actually came here, I've read so many things about how it's difficult to get it, like how you need to wait a really long time to get it, because you have to apply. Usually it's a phone call, you have a special number on their website that you are calling. You need to just provide some of your details. You need to provide some of your details, and then you're waiting for a letter. So this letter usually comes within 2 weeks, and you get an invitation with a specific place and specific time that you need to go for a conversation. Talking about this conversation, you usually need to also have all sorts of documents, and as many as you can have at that point, that you're intending to start to work, or you're already working, or your address as well, because you need some sort of proof of address. If you're also studying, it's good for you to have printed a letter from university with your acceptance or offer, whatever you have. It's gonna be good if you have it with you. They actually didn't really check all of these documents with me. I think they only checked my tenancy agreement and my job agreement, the contract, but apart from that they didn't really want any kind of documents more. After this conversation, you usually wait about up to 8 weeks, I suppose, 6 to 8 weeks. I might be wrong about that, but it can be a bit long to get the actual national insurance number. And now, because I believed before I came here that without this document I will not be able to start working, and I was really worried that I'm gonna have to actually be here for at least 8 weeks before I start to work, otherwise I will not legally be able to do so. And it's not true. You can easily start a job. They usually will ask you about it, but then if you say that you've already applied and you're waiting for it, or you called national insurance number, it's okay. You can actually deliver this number later on. For example, right now during this situation, there are no conversations and there's no insurance number thing. You can't even call them. So because of that, you actually don't have it, and many people who come here right now will not have it for a while probably, and there's no issue, just everyone knows about it, it's fine. You don't have national insurance number for now. Okay, so after national insurance number, you're obviously gonna need a bank account, because if you get paid, you need to get paid somewhere. You need a UK bank account. Speaking of bank accounts, I've struggled so much to get my bank account, but I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about it in a second. So we have national insurance number, we have a bank account, bank details, and then we have also the GP registration, because it is good for you basically to register to GP. The letter from GP is also a proof of your address, and this may be really useful for you to open a bank account. So this is additional document that can help you as well. So I would say these are the three main things you actually need for you to start being here and working here. It is also good for you to have a UK number, phone number, because it's gonna be easier for you to put it in a CV. Not everyone will contact you by email, not everyone will contact you. Not everyone would like to contact a foreign number, so that's why it's good to have a UK number. But this is actually the easiest one to get, but I will speak about it as well. And I think that's pretty much it. Like, these are 4 main things that you need when you come here. So, as I said about national insurance number, I can tell you a bit more about my story. So I obviously called them. I got a letter quite early because it was within a week, and then I got my appointment in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks time. So it wasn't 6-8 weeks, it was like 2-3 weeks or something like that. It was not so bad. I got a day off at that time. I went to this work center and I had to wait for my appointment. It's basically a pretty busy place. They even have people speaking your language, so if you don't speak English that well, you can request for a translator or just a person who speaks this language a little bit. They will ask you why you came here, they will ask you where do you live, obviously. They ask questions like, are you single, are you married, do you have kids? And that's it, basically. It doesn't really take a long time. It's probably like 10 minutes or even less. You sign a few papers, you leave, and you wait for your national insurance number. What is definitely not easy is opening a bank account. My story with opening a bank account is actually frustrating to this point for me, because I struggled to open a bank account for over a month or even 2. After I came here, I went to Lloyds Bank because that was the one that I heard about, and I didn't really know much about banks at that time. So when I went to the branch, I had an appointment. I had to wait an hour or 2 just walking around to come at the specific hour, because they don't always take you as you go, let's say. They have specific appointments. So I sat down with a person and they told me that they need to have 2 proofs of address of mine. So then I asked them what can be a proof of address. They told me the tenancy agreement, job contract, letter from university. If you go to university, they will give you the letter. It's not a problem, just go to university. So I decided to go to university. And because it was before I even started my academic year, I didn't go through enrollment part yet, because this is when you actually start a year. So they only could have given me the acceptance letter, the unconditional offer from university, but they couldn't give me anything else. They could have changed the address on that letter, so it's not gonna be my Polish address anymore, it would be this UK address. But that was only the offer letter. So then I went to bank again with my tenancy agreement, and they told me that none of these letters is valid because tenancy agreement is not through agency and it needs to be a known agency or a landlord, and this is not this kind of document, so they cannot accept it. And the offer letter from university is also not a valid proof of address because they need specific dates of the course, when it starts, when it ends, and this can be a proof of address. So me being completely unaware, I went again to my university to ask for this proof from them, and the lady was surprised and she told me that, well, basically they can't provide this document for me because I haven't started this university yet. so I may be able to get this proof of income after I enroll, which was in late September, and that time when I was trying to open the account was straight after I started my job, or even before I started my job, which was early August. So I couldn't get it for next month and a half. So I'm thinking, oh, that's absolutely amazing. So then I went to bank again. They told me that I can get letter from GP, and also if I get my national insurance number, this is a valid proof of address as well. So I thought, okay, that's great. I went to GP, I registered to GP, I was waiting for a letter, because when you go to GP, you literally need to find the nearest surgery, the nearest clinic around you. You go there, you ask them to sign in, they will give you the papers that you need to fill about yourself. There are questions about your alcohol consumption, about your smoking, about all sorts of stuff. And then you're waiting for a letter as well. So usually the letter comes within a week as well. I had this letter. I think I also got my national insurance number eventually. I was waiting for that one. And when I got it, I went to the bank again, and lady again looked through this. She said, yes, this national insurance number is a valid proof of address, but with my GP letter there is a problem, because on that letter it only said my first name and my surname, and it needs to be exactly as it is in my passport with my second name, so they cannot accept it because there is no second name. So when I heard that, I was like, okay, I'm trying to apply for different banks because I cannot do that. And it was getting to the point when I was about to get paid in September. It went like I was waiting for my national insurance number through August, and then I was about to get paid early September, so I had to have some details. So then I found out that there is a bank called Monzo, which is amazing, and this is an online bank. You just literally need to sign up through the app, then they send you the card into your house, and that's it. It's done, and it works as a normal bank account, no problem. But because I did it a bit too late, probably, in a way that I signed up for this, but then I provided these details to my manager, to my assistant manager, and she put them in a system, but it was like 2 weeks before we actually got paid, so probably the payment, it didn't work, and I got the check, but it's another story how I got paid and how difficult for me it was to actually get the cash. But yes, so I didn't even know that Monzo can be a really valid bank account, because I thought that it is just the app to like help you with your finances, or like you can have some money there, but it doesn't work like a bank. But it does work like a bank. I actually got my I was actually receiving my student loan payments on that account, so you can easily use this one, and I really recommend it, because by the time you get the normal bank account, you may need this, and it's better for you to have Monzo. Just saying. I will talk a bit more about getting student loans in the future as well. If you're interested in that, let me know. So I decided I need to start applying for different banks, because this is clearly not working well for me. I got referred in my job to open a bank account in Metro Bank. That it's amazing because it's really simple. You just go there, blah blah blah. So I did the same thing. I went to Metro, I had an appointment, I had my national insurance number with me, all sorts of documents, and then again I was told that I need a letter from university, or I need a letter from my job that I live in a specific place, because otherwise it's not gonna work. So I went to my job frustrated and angry, and they decided to give me this kind of letter that I work for them and this is my address, blah blah blah. So I got this letter. I thought finally maybe I can open this bank account. I'm going back to the bank, and then I hear that this is not a valid document because it's not on original paper, whatever it means. They cannot verify it, it cannot go through the system. I'm sorry, but it's not gonna work. At that point, I heard that I should go to HSBC. So to be fair, I was at the point when I was like, you know, whatever, I just need this bank account. So if you don't already know, for many of the banks, you can't open a student bank account if you're an international student, because you need to live in UK for at least 3 years to open a student bank account. I think that the only exception is Barclays, but I might be wrong about that. As far as I know, when I went to HSBC, they told me I can't have a student bank account. I can have the most basic type of account. I went to the branch. I was already so discouraged at that point. I was like, I needed to have a bank account, and I will tell you why. Because I got paid by check. For you to get money from this check, you need to go to the bank, your bank, so you can actually monetize it and get the cash. And because Monzo is a online bank, I would have to send the check through the post to them, and I was a little bit like skeptical about it because I was just afraid how it's gonna work. Maybe it would be working fine, but I needed this money. I had to pay for my rent, and I had to pay technically in first couple of days of the month, and I got paid on the 6th of the month. And by the time I was able to open a bank account, it was like 10th, so I was already late with my first rent. Anyways, I went to the HSBC, and they went through these papers. They just needed one proof of income, and they opened me the bank account. Like, honestly, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it when this man was talking about international transfers and this and that. I wasn't even listening. I was just like, oh my god, finally. So when I got my bank account, I immediately wanted to get my check and get the money from my check. And then it turned out that I have to wait another up to 5 days for them to be on my bank account. So, yes. But finally, I made it. Finally, I managed to open a bank account. So yeah, just a little tip for you from me. I wouldn't go to Lloyds personally. I mean, maybe other people did not have that issue. As far as I know, the restrictions and the rules around opening bank accounts for internationals are becoming more and more strict, and let's say 5, 6, 7 years ago it was way easier to open a bank account. Right now it's a bit of a hassle, because they actually will ask you for your previous addresses back to 3 years in the past, and if you haven't lived in UK, then you're gonna struggle. I personally use mainly Monzo, to be fair. Like, my HSBC bank account is only for my income, for my salaries, and then I actually use Monzo for everything else because it's really clear. You can see all your expenditures, you can see all the things you paid for, you can create pots for like saving money. Let's say you get paid, you need to pay for rent in like next 7 days, then you can create a pot and transfer money for this rent so you don't touch it for this time. You can create another pot for like, I don't know, emergency money, and you save up a little bit from each salary, whatever you want. It's really clear and obvious what you paid for, and you get transfers immediately, you send money immediately, and you see what you spend on immediately. Unlike HSBC, you need, on HSBC accounts, for example, if you paid for something during the weekend, it's not gonna be taken off your account by Monday. So you can guess what kind of problems it can cause, because you don't really know how much you spent in that bar that you went to with your friends, and oh, did I have 3 or 4 or 5 beers? I don't know. Yeah, well, you'll know on a Monday morning when you're gonna have -3 on your account, and you have still a couple of days until you get paid. It happens. So yeah, apart from that, I would say bank account was my biggest struggle. National insurance number, really easy. GP, as I told you, really easy as well. So in terms of numbers, it is also quite straightforward. You can go for pay-as-you-go type of plans that I actually had in the first place. They only ask you about your bank account, I suppose. So you can obviously sign a contract like I did later on for 12 months for a number, and then you have a direct debit set up every month and you pay for your data and for your number. Or you can have a pay-as-you-go option. Right now I have my number in free and it's really straightforward. So it's like, just if you're interested in that, you pay, let's say, £12 per month, I think, or 15. You have 12 gigabytes of internet and unlimited phone calls and messages, which is really great. They also have an option called Go Binge that allows you to use all of the social media platforms without using your data for it. So you can be on Instagram, like whatever, you can do that and you will not use your data on that. So I think it's pretty amazing as well. So I think it's everything pretty much that I had to deal with in the first month or two of my living in London and working in London as well. Of course, after I got to my university and I enrolled, I got this proof of address type of letter. You can literally usually download it from your profile at university, so it's really easy as well. But I would say that the first month was quite terrible at that point. Like, it is quite stressful when you can't deal with things like that. And I remember I had some issues with these banks and no one really helped me with it because people didn't even know. They never had these kind of issues, or they were just English. So if you're English, it's a completely different situation, obviously. Right, so thank you so much for clicking on this video and being here with me. If you have any questions, please message me. I will definitely answer, and I hope I'll see you in my next one. I hope you have a lovely day. Bye guys.